Hi everybody, we'll just give it a minute or two to do its thing and then we'll get on with this video. So, I wanted to talk about the significant losses of birds, specifically in the UK, and my personal thoughts on it. And I wanted to share a few insights, what I think could be the problems. So, it goes without saying, we all know that birds of prey are one of the biggest threats in the UK to the racing pigeon population. We know that. And we know that it's out of hand. We know things need to be done, but it's a big battle to even try and think of winning. So it goes without saying that birds of prey are a major issue. But I can't help but feel there are other issues at play. When you see the amount of losses that people have, only this last weekend I know of an exceptional national winning flyer that sent 30 young birds to their first race and only has 5 back. The pigeons are kept exceptionally, there can be no issues with health. Some people would say clashing is an issue. Again, we're guessing. But what I do definitely know is, from a technical point of view, there could be one thing at play here. So I'm going to try and figure out. I'm using Facebook's own system, so let me just try and figure this out. How to share this. I want to be able to share the screen. So just give me a second, guys. I'm using something new, which I need to figure. I want to share a screen. While I'm sharing the screen, or I'm figuring out how to share the screen, um, my I've been flying drones for the last 10 years, and one of the very first decent drones I'd only had for a couple of weeks. So this was quite a while ago. This was probably 9 years ago now. And I was flying the drone, and with any good drone, you should be able to press a button and that drone will return back to where it took off. And this particular drone didn't. It landed on a roof 20 feet, 30 feet away from where it should have done and crashed. And I was like, I did everything right, pressed the home button, it should have done it. Now, it didn't do it, and then I shared that within drone communities, and then that's where I first found out about the KP index. So the KP index, I can't figure out how to share the screen at the moment, so I'm just going to put some links into this chat here. So the KP index is a an index of space weather, and I was told if the KP index is over 3, you shouldn't be flying a drone. So this is an example of one of the sites that you can see it on, and this shows historic, goes back a week or so. There's another site here you can look at, which I'm posting into the into the thread on this, and here's another one as well. So there's various sites to this. You can get apps that monitor this as well, and the so the KP index is an indication of how many solar flares are being emitted from the sun, and it's proven within even the drones are affected by this, that if the KP index, which is an indication of how many solar flares and how serious they are, how big they are, is too high, you don't fly your drone, because these solar flares will screw up and interact with the GPS, the inbuilt computer GPS that's on these drones, which tells it where it took off from and where it can fly to and what have you. So if you don't fly a drone with a KP index over a certain reading, it stands to reason that a pigeon's inbuilt GPS system could be affected by this. I think what's going on in the world from a weather point of view could potentially seriously be affecting things. As another example, I was in the Algarve for the Algarve Golden Race final last year. It was the first time they never had a pigeon back on the day. And Frank the Big showed me a map of 4 mini earthquakes that had happened, one in the north of France, one in the coast of Portugal, one in Tunisia, and one off the coast of the Algarve. And coincidentally, those 4 mini earthquakes happened, and there wasn't a pigeon back until the next morning in that race. Coming back to the UK, if I was racing pigeons, which I don't do myself, if I was racing pigeons, you can look ahead on some of these websites and see what the forecasted KP index is going to be. I wouldn't be flying my pigeons I wouldn't be sending my pigeons to a race if that KP index was high, predicted to be high. I believe it's only a theory, but it's a theory based on directly what I've experienced flying drones. And if a computer system, which is essentially what the GPS system is in a drone, is affected by this, then you would think a pigeon's ability to home with its inbuilt GPS that it's got is going to be seriously affected too. And I think it's something people should seriously look at. For instance, like 2 days ago, on one of the sites, the British Geological Survey link that I sent, on the 12th, the KP readings all over the country were off the charts, and they were really high levels. So it's just a theory. It's something to think about. As I said, you can get mobile apps that show you and predict what the KP index is going to be, but it's worth thinking about. Yes, as I said in the beginning of this, we know birds of prey are a massive issue. We see it every single week. We see birds getting back that have been attacked. Yes, the working together of organisations and preventing clashing is another potential issue. I hear about like why the losses have been so heavy in the last 2 weeks because of Olympic satellites. The Olympics was broadcast using existing satellites that are in the sky already. Thousands of satellites are in the sky already, and they were using existing resources up there. But this KP index and solar flares, I think it's a thing that people should look at. If you're racing, personally, like I said, if I was racing myself, I would not be sending pigeons to a race where the KP index was projected to be a 3 or more. I wouldn't be doing it, because I think potentially you could be throwing away more pigeons than you'd want. So it's just a quick idea, something to think about, but it's proven that this KP index being high enough can affect all kinds of computer systems, GPS systems, so it stands to reason it's going to affect the pigeon's homing ability. Yes, 5G is another theory. But the reality with 5G and the scientific facts show that 5G can affect an airplane's altitude readings because of the interference of radio waves. But there's not much more scientific proof that it can affect anything else at the moment. But definitely this KP index is worth looking at. I will put some links in this video and the replay that's on YouTube to apps that you can go and get for free that monitor this KP index, and you can see at least 5 days ahead on what they predict the KP index to be. So that was all. Thank you for watching. Catch you soon.